No idea how it's possible that Angel Reese is still doing this in year 3. I mean, first of all, her 3-ball, she's shooting 14% from deep this season, like stop it. And on top of that, she's averaging 3.2 turnovers per game and only 2.5 assists per game. That's ridiculous. And of course the layups, look at this.
Finds her, and Reese can't make sure she just give up. I'm getting stressed out watching her attempt it. Reese.
Like, if you want to get your block averages up, you should just guard Angel Reese. I mean, she's still shooting it from the hip.
Looking to take it to her. Reese, the footwork, couldn't finish.
I was stunned when I saw this. Angel Reese only made 3 of her 10 attempts.
Fire!
And then a tie game, a couple seconds left to go, and Angel Reese did again an open layup miss. She only made 5 over 16 shots this game, and it's almost all in the paint.
In life, death, taxes, and Angel Reese missing a layup when it actually matters. That's the joke going around after the Fever beat the Dream in overtime. And honestly, the tape backs it up. Caitlin Clark carried Indiana with 26-9. Michaela Timpson had the game of her career, and Reese spent the whole night trying to be physical instead of good. There's a shove in the first quarter of this game that should have been a flagrant foul. Instead, the refs let it go. Angel Reese kept playing physical all night, and Caitlin Clark just kept scoring on her, serving Reese a dose of instant karma. Do you support Caitlin, the baby goat, or Reese, the baby giraffe? Let me know down in the comments below. There's 3 things that's guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Angel Reese missing crucial layups. And my goodness, she missed it at a perfect time. Thank you, Angel, because now the Fever can move up in the standings because of you. You blew it for your dream. No whistle, nothing. Clark immediately appeals to the refs. The Atlanta bench barely blinks, and the refs just let the possession keep rolling like nothing happened. Fans watching at home rewound that clip about 10 times because it genuinely didn't look like a basketball play. It looked like Reese trying to send a message early and getting away clean with it. That's been the blueprint against Clark all season. Teams figure they can't outscore her, so they try to wear her down, bump her off her spots, and hope the refs let it slide. Reese, in particular, has made contact her whole identity against Indiana. And this shove was the clearest version of it. Her hands landed square on Clark's shoulder blades. She drove through with her hips, and Clark had 0 chance to brace for the fall. That's not a bump. That's a shove that meets every definition of a flagrant foul. Excessive and unnecessary contact on a player with a ball, nowhere near the play. This was completely deliberate on Clark rather than a normal jump. Over the next few possessions, Atlanta kept closing out on Clark's shooters with forearms instead of hands up, kept bodying Aaliyah Boston under the rim without box-outs, and kept grabbing jerseys on switches when the play moved away from the ball. Meanwhile, on the other end, Indiana got called for the softest touch fouls all night. A hand check here, a slight bump there. Whistles Atlanta never had to deal with themselves. I mean, check out this phantom foul called against Clark on Ryan Howard. Clark immediately was asking for a challenge. Clark got up, walked back on defense, and just kept playing her game like the shove never happened. That's the part that actually shifted things, because Indiana's whole bench saw their point guard eat a hard foul and respond with focus instead of frustration. And it lit a fire under their defense for the rest of the first half. The no call became the moment. Indiana stopped playing nice and started playing like they had something to prove. 0.26 points, 9 assists, and she got knocked around all night and just kept scoring. That's the stat line that stopped scrolling feeds cold after this one. People weren't just looking at the box score. They were re-watching how she got there, because Clark built that line piece by piece against a defense that fouled her early and often and never actually slowed her down. Early in the first quarter, she hit a couple pull-up threes off the dribble, the kind where the defender's hand is right in her face. And it doesn't matter. Then, as the game opened up, she started finding Boston and Timpson cutting through the lane with these little pocket passes, the ball arriving right at the hip before the defender can react. That's the part casual fans miss. Clark's scoring gets the headlines, but the reason Indiana's offense works is she's already seeing the next pass before the defense finishes rotating. Stephanie White says she's seeing the whole floor, doing a great job. When it's time to play fast, push the pace, that's Indiana. Zoom out and the numbers get bigger. Clark's averaging 22 points a game this season. And that's the highest scoring average for a point guard this century. Not this season, not this decade, this century. On top of that, she's leading the entire league in assists per game across all 3 years she's played, which means she's not just a scorer who happens to pass. She's the best passer in the league who also happens to score more than almost anyone else at her position. Then there's the 700 assist mark. Clark hit it faster than anyone in WNBA history, and faster than anyone in NBA history too. Faster than Magic Johnson, faster than John Stockton, faster than every point guard people spent decades comparing her to. That's not a hot streak. That's a pace nobody in either league has ever touched. There's a possession in the third quarter where Clark picks up Alicia Gray on a switch, stays in front of her through 2 hard dribble moves, and contests the shot straight up without reaching in or fouling. Gray misses, Indiana gets the rebound, and Clark never even needed help defense on the play. That's the two-way growth analysts keep bringing up, and it's not theoretical anymore. It showed up on tape against one of Atlanta's best scorers. Indiana was plus 14 in points off turnovers. Gray can't finish it. Late in the fourth, down the stretch, Clark drives baseline and draws contact on the arm, sending her to the line with the game hanging in the balance. She knocks down both free throws, and that's the exact possession that keeps Indiana's heartbeat going into overtime, instead of ending regulation with a loss. No hesitation, no rushed form. Just 2 makes when missing either one ends the game right there. She's 3 of 5 from deep. Clark through the lane, reverses it in. Here's Sherrod, can't hit. Reese left alone. Reese gets denied by Boston. It squirts out to Clark. Clark lobbing it in. Boston deep position and the finish. Great early seal from Aaliyah. Kelsey Mitchell had 18 straight games with at least 20 points. That's the longest single-season streak in WNBA history. The longest 2-season streak. Start with Aaliyah Boston, because her line doesn't even look real. 18 points, 14 rebounds, 5 steals, guarding 3 different positions depending on the possession. 1 trip down, she's boxing out Atlanta's center under the rim. Next trip, she's out on the perimeter cutting off a guard's drive, and she never looks lost doing either one. But the box score only tells half of it. That's a big who does more than score and rebound. That's a big who thinks the game a step ahead of everybody guarding her. Then there's Mikala Timpson. And this one's personal for her. 20 points on 9 of 13 shooting, 7 rebounds. And this is a career night for a player who only moved into the starting lineup a few weeks ago. Since the All-Star break, Timpson's confidence has grown possession by possession. And you can see it in how quickly she attacks the rim now compared to earlier in the season. No hesitation, no second, guessing herself once the ball's in her hands. Clark specifically praised her growth after the game, pointing to how much more comfortable Timpson looks creating her own shot, instead of waiting around for a pass to fall in her lap. Kelsey Mitchell did what Kelsey Mitchell does, dropping 20 points and stretching her streak to 19 straight games, hitting that number or more. 19 straight games is a stretch that doesn't happen by accident. Late in regulation, with Atlanta clawing back into it, Mitchell hit back-to-back layups through contact that kept Indiana's head above water and forced overtime instead of letting the game slip away in the fourth. Those buckets don't show up as highlight reel material the same way a Clark 3 does. But without them, Indiana isn't playing an extra period at all. What makes this work is how head coach Stephanie White used all 3 of them differently instead of asking everybody to do the same job. Boston operated as the connector, feeding both scorers and cleaning up the glass. Timpson attacked mismatches in space, where her length gave Atlanta problems. And Mitchell just got the ball in rhythm off screens, catching and shooting without needing to create from scratch. Spreading the load that way is exactly why Clark wasn't forced into playing hero ball against a defense built to wear one player down. This wasn't a one-star show carried by Clark alone. End of the fourth quarter, score tied, and Angel Reese grabs an offensive rebound with a chance to just about end it right there. Point-blank range, the defense scrambles late. And for a second, it looks like the exact nightmare scenario Indiana's been trying to avoid all night. Reese gets to her spot and puts up the layup with nobody really contesting it clean. The angle looked fine walking into it. Reese had enough space. The rim was right there. And this is the kind of shot she's supposed to make in her sleep. Except this is Angel Reese. The ball comes off her hand a little flat, catches the front of the rim, and clangs straight off without even drawing iron on the way through. No fluke, no excuse this time. Just a shocking look that doesn't go down when the building's loudest. The internet had that miss turned into a meme. And then she went and did exactly that on the biggest possession of the night. Death, taxes, and Angel Reese missing a layup that actually matters. That's not a cheap shot at her game. Overall, she can score in bunches against plenty of teams, but against Indiana, in the moments that decide games, that shot has not been falling. And Sunday night just added another data point nobody in Atlanta wanted. Clark's reaction told the story better than any interview could. She's going back to the bench. Reese visibly frustrated. And instead of chirping at Reese or pointing fingers at the bench, Clark just smiles. Not a smirk aimed at anybody, just a real laugh. Like she already knew how this possession was going to end before the shot left Reese's hand. That reaction spread through Indiana's bench in about 2 seconds. And it hit harder than any trash talk ever could, because Clark didn't need to say a single word for the moment to land exactly how it landed. The Fever sealed it, 95-91. And the way they closed had nothing panicked about it. Just free throws falling and defense holding until the clock ran out. All that physical stuff Reese leaned on the entire game. The shoves, the hard closeouts, the force she tried to play with against Clark. None of it showed up when the game actually needed a bucket. The aggression that worked in the first quarter to knock Clark off balance did nothing for Reese in the possession that mattered most. And that gap between intimidation and execution is exactly what decided this game. One overtime finish like this doesn't just happen and disappear either. Not with the way Indiana's been trending the last few weeks. Indiana walks away from this one at 23 wins and 12 losses. Their fourth straight win. And the gap between them and Atlanta in the standings just got a lot more real. 4 in a row against a mix of teams that includes a legitimate playoff contender in the Dream. Every one of those wins adds up, and beating a team like Atlanta on a night, this physical says, more than beating a team that's already out of the race. I feel like over the last 4 or 5 games, her floor game has been incredible. We all know she can score in bunches. She finds ways, but the way that she's getting us into offense, the way that she's using the floor to get her teammates shots, she's not getting bogged down on one side. She's allowing the game to flow, and she's doing a great job of finding her teammates in that. And when she does that, it opens things up for her in ways. I think that the 3 that she got out of a timeout, I don't think she expected to be that open. And Indiana's crowd has been as loud as anybody's. Every extra win from here shrinks the number of scenarios where Indiana has to go play a road environment in a winner-go-home game. And this result feeds straight into the MVP case for Clark, because voters remember games like this one. Not garbage-time buckets against a team already mailing it in, but 26-9 against a playoff-caliber defense that tried to bully her out of the building. Games like this get remembered in November when ballots go out, and stat lines built against real competition carry more weight than anything padded against a bottom feeder. So, the picture going forward is simple. Clark's out there laughing off Angel Reese's shoves and hard fouls while posting a stat line most guards in league history never sniff in a single season, let alone one night. Indiana's rolling. Atlanta's still stuck trying to figure out how to beat them.